The alert came through the bridge's communication console in a sharp, urgent burst. The alien general's eyes flicked rapidly over the data. Human children had been taken from a supposedly secure outpost. The words felt like a shock to his system. Human children? Taken? It was unthinkable. Humans were known across the quadrant as unpredictable and dangerous adversaries, but targeting their young was beyond reckless. The gravity of the situation pressed down on him immediately. The report detailed a sudden disappearance of several human children from a neutral research station orbiting a fringe planet. The station had been under surveillance, and no external breach had been detected. Whoever took the children had done so with precision and inside knowledge. This was no random raid. It smelled of provocation. The general's mind raced through every known faction capable of such an audacious act, and yet, none made sense. Humans were feared, yes, but no one had dared cross this line before. The room hummed with tension as the general barked orders. All fleet commanders were to prepare their fastest ships for immediate deployment. Recon drones were dispatched to scour the surrounding space for any signs of the missing children or the kidnappers. Intelligence units began parsing through intercepted communications for clues. The general's voice was calm but heavy with urgency. Failure to recover the children would ignite tensions far beyond what their fragile alliances could handle. The general's advisors argued fiercely over the potential motives behind this act. Was this an act of rebellion within human ranks? Or had a rival species orchestrated this to provoke war? The general refused to believe any internal human faction would be so reckless, yet the ambiguity gnawed at him. If this was a trap, the consequences would be catastrophic. The alien military doctrine prioritized control and intimidation, but the thought of human children in unknown hands disrupted their usual calculations. The general recalled countless battles where human soldiers had displayed unmatched ferocity and cunning. Even their children had been rumored to carry untapped potential, though no one had ever witnessed it firsthand until now. This unknown variable terrified him. As the fleet readied for rapid deployment, the general ordered the station commanders to tighten security around all human outposts under their jurisdiction. No one was to underestimate the significance of this event. It was clear that whoever held the children might use them as leverage, either bargaining chips or tools of chaos. The general's advisors presented options ranging from direct assault to covert retrieval missions. The risk of escalation weighed heavily on everyone's minds, but inaction was unthinkable. The general stood alone for a moment, staring at the holomap of the quadrant. The human children had vanished without a trace, yet their presence now haunted every star system in the region. The implications went far beyond a simple kidnapping. It was a challenge, a warning, or perhaps something even more dangerous. The general's instincts screamed that this was just the beginning. His voice cut through the bridge's tense silence. Mobilize all available forces. Find those children, no matter the cost. If they are harmed or used against us, this war will change forever. In the command center, officers scrambled to obey the order, but beneath the surface was an unspoken fear. Humans were already unpredictable enough as adults. Now their children were out there, and no one knew what they were capable of. The general's panic was not just about the loss of children. It was about what the humans would do next. The message was clear. This was a breach of the unspoken rules of war, and the universe was about to witness a reckoning born from the smallest but most feared among humanity. The children were not just ordinary kids. They were selected for a reason, born and raised in the harshest conditions humanity had to offer, honed for survival, stealth, and intelligence beyond their years. Each carried within them a spark of something far greater than mere childhood innocence. These were the silent warriors of a hidden human program, designed for missions that no adult could undertake without drawing attention. They had been placed at the research station as part of a covert operation, to observe alien technologies, gather intelligence, and prepare for a future that only humans seemed willing to face head-on. The children knew their mission was dangerous, but they accepted it without hesitation. From a young age, they had been trained to think several moves ahead, to adapt and improvise in any situation. They communicated through a complex network of gestures, signals, and encrypted messages that even advanced alien scanners struggled to interpret. Their small size made them elusive, able to slip through corridors, ventilation shafts, and security blind spots that no adult could exploit. They worked as a unit, each child with a specialized skill set, some in hacking alien systems, others in combat tactics, others in medicine or survival. Together, they formed an unbreakable chain. When the alien kidnappers finally struck, the children were ready. Instead of panicking or becoming victims, they set traps and false leads, confusing their pursuers at every turn. The kidnappers expected frightened captives, but they found nothing but ghosts, shadows that vanished as soon as they appeared. The children's laughter echoed faintly in the corridors, mocking the invaders' arrogance. One of the children, the unofficial leader, was a 12-year-old girl with eyes that burned with fierce determination. She reminded herself and the others that they were not helpless. They were the future of humanity's defense. They had been taught that their greatest strength was their ability to surprise. The aliens might have superior weapons and fleets, but humans had something no other species did: unpredictability, creativity, and raw will. Their technology was a mix of stolen alien tech and human innovation. Small devices that could disrupt sensors, disable drones, and scramble communications. The children moved swiftly, leaving behind no trace except the faintest hints of their passage. They knew that each moment wasted risked capture, but they also understood the importance of sending a message. Humanity was not to be underestimated. In their brief moments of rest, the children shared stories from Earth, tales of survival through harsh winters, wars fought in shadows, and a fierce love for freedom that burned deep in every human heart. They were more than operatives. They were the embodiment of a species that refused to bow to any external threat. Despite their youth, they were keenly aware of the eyes watching them. The alien forces were closing in, relentless and confident that this would end soon. But the children knew better. Every step they took was part of a carefully crafted plan, one that would turn the hunters into the hunted. Their existence was a puzzle the aliens couldn't solve. For all the alien technology and military might, they lacked the one element that made humans truly dangerous: the indomitable spirit that refused to be caged or controlled no matter the odds. The children were living proof that humanity's greatest weapon was not firepower, but resilience and cunning. As the pursuit tightened, the children prepared their next move. They sent encrypted signals back to their command, not as victims begging for rescue, but as warriors signaling the beginning of a counterstrike. The galaxy was about to learn a lesson they hadn't expected. Human children were not pawns, but players in a game far bigger than anyone had imagined. The alien fleet moved with precision and speed, confident that capturing human children would be a straightforward task. Their ships cut through space like knives, deploying scouting drones and surveillance arrays designed to flush out any hiding spots. The general expected no surprises. After all, these were children, not seasoned soldiers. They assumed the kids would be easy prey, and the mission would end quickly. But the children proved to be anything but vulnerable. Using a combination of advanced technology and instinct, they turned every corner, every shadow, and every system against their pursuers. Their small size allowed them to slip through tight spaces and escape detection where larger beings could not. They scrambled alien sensors with compact devices and hacked into enemy communications to feed false information, sending the fleet on wild goose chases. The pursuit became a frustrating game of cat and mouse. Alien commanders watched in disbelief as their carefully planned maneuvers were outsmarted by beings they considered too young to understand strategy. Each failed attempt to capture the children intensified the general's anxiety. Orders grew desperate, tactics more aggressive, and pride turned into paranoia. The children's coordination was remarkable. Through silent signals and prearranged codes, they communicated seamlessly, anticipating alien moves and adapting their tactics instantly. They set traps, disabling drones and forcing the fleet to retreat temporarily. Despite their age, they demonstrated a level of maturity and composure that unsettled even the most hardened alien officers. The general's frustration boiled over. He called for harsher measures, authorizing dangerous weaponry that risked collateral damage to human outposts and neutral systems. His advisors warned against escalating the conflict, but he refused to back down. Losing face meant more than just military defeat. It was a stain on his entire command. Meanwhile, The children pressed on with their mission, undeterred by the alien aggression. They moved quickly, leaving behind encrypted clues hinting at a larger plan. The fleet intercepted a cryptic message, one that suggested the children were not just running but preparing for something far bigger. The aliens could not decipher the full meaning, but the tone was unmistakable, a warning. The psychological effect on the alien forces was profound. What began as a routine recovery mission morphed into a nightmare. The belief that human children were weak had shattered, replaced by a growing fear of what these young operatives represented. The general realized that his enemy was not simply outmaneuvering him on the battlefield but reshaping the entire nature of this conflict. The pursuit stretched across multiple systems, draining resources and morale. The alien fleet was forced to split its attention between aggressive capture attempts and defending vulnerable positions. Every encounter with the children ended with fresh embarrassment and rising casualties. The general's panic deepened as the realization sank in. Underestimating humanity's young could cost them everything. Through it all, the children remained united, their bond unbreakable. They understood that their strength came not only from skill and technology but from trust in each other. As they prepared to send one final message to human command, they knew that the stakes had never been higher. The galaxy was watching, and the outcome of this chase would redefine what it meant to face humanity, no matter the age of their warriors. The general stared at the decrypted transmission, disbelief and rising dread etched across his face. The children were no ordinary captives. They were the spearhead of a carefully orchestrated human strategy, sent not to be rescued, but to infiltrate, disrupt, and expose weaknesses within alien defenses. The revelation hit him harder than any battle loss. The humans had turned their greatest vulnerability, children, into their most lethal weapon. The message outlined a truth the general had failed to grasp. These children were genetically enhanced, trained in ways that far exceeded any known alien military doctrine. They possessed technology that could disable entire fleets, disrupt communications, and turn the tide of conflict with precision strikes. What had seemed like mere survival tactics were actually advanced maneuvers designed to cripple their pursuers. The general's panic escalated as reports flooded in. Fleets encountering inexplicable system failures, drones falling silent, sensors scrambled by unseen forces. Each incident traced back to the children's coordinated efforts. The feared human adults were known for their ruthlessness, but these children carried the same lethal cunning, proving that humanity's edge was not limited by age. In his mind, the general wrestled with the consequences. The audacity of humans to use their children in such a way shattered every assumption about honor, warfare, and strategy. The galaxy's perception of humanity shifted from that of a dangerous species to an unstoppable force, one that could harness the unpredictable nature of youth as a devastating tool. Faced with this new reality, the general weighed his options. Escalate and risk total war with a foe unlike any other? Or seek negotiation with a species that had already shown it played by its own rules? His pride warred with pragmatism, knowing any wrong move could trigger a conflict that no one could control. The children, meanwhile, prepared their final move, an operation that would reveal the full extent of their capabilities. Far from helpless victims, they were the embodiment of human resilience and ingenuity, a warning that humanity's greatest strength lay in its ability to adapt and outthink any opponent. The general's panic was no longer just about the loss of children. It was about the dawning realization that humans, even their youngest, were forces of nature. Unpredictable, relentless, and always several steps ahead. The universe had underestimated humanity for too long, and now it was paying the price. As the transmission ended, the general's final thought echoed across the bridge. Underestimating humanity was the greatest mistake any alien ever made.